Assalamualaikum and good day to my panels and our fellow friends. Welcome to our Viva presentation. Today we'll be talking about our final year project titled Factor Contributing to Food Waste Awareness Among Undergraduate Students in the International Islamic University Malaysia. We would like to introduce ourselves. My name is Puteri Binti Majid, ID number 2021119587, and I hold as the first presenter, and my partner is...
My name is Izzatul Hani Binti Asrul Sani, ID number 2021155833. I am the second researcher and the second presenter for this final year project presentation.
Here we provide an overview for easy cognition of the input in our presentation slide. We will explain to the panel about the research background, problem statement, research question, research objective, conceptual framework, hypothesis statement, research methodology, finding, summary finding, recommendation, limitation and conclusion. So the first presentation I'll discuss is about the research background. I'll present this research background to identify what is behind the title we choose for the research purposes. Referring to the Brockdale 2022 in his article, food waste is a form of waste that results from the excessive spending and ultimately result in the waste. He also stated that usually these wasters deliberately throw away their food as a result of excessive grazing. This situation can occur in urban areas and also suburban areas closely to the city. So, according to the studies, as many as 1.3 billion tons of food waste have been categorized as among those listed in the highest food waste all over the world every year. And this food waste can happen all over the world, but what makes difference is how the country control waste domestically. Surprisingly, Malaysia is one of the contributing factor in this food waste, where in 2015, Malaysia has contributed almost 15,000 per day, equivalent to 3,000 tons of food that might still be utilized and should not be thrown away. The total result from this expected count has been specially released by the Solid Waste Corporate of Malaysia, SW Corp. The amount released by SW Corp is very stressful because they expected the entire amount of food waste to be able to feed almost 12 million people per day. We go to the next point, which is the problem statement. In this study, the problem statement emphasizes the cause, effect, and what will happen. Food waste is indeed become one of the hotly debated issue, and it's still being discussed and controlled under the observation of the United Nations. United Nations had to create a facility such as an index as a food waste index FWI to control and calculate the amount of food waste, because in this main target to several developed countries. In Malaysia's statement that described the problem of the food waste often become hot when the Ramadan bazaar season arrives. Usually, the food sold in the market during Ramadan will have too much surplus as a result of high demand of the people, and the food production throughout the months of Ramadan increased tremendously. Our study has continued in more depth in other factors that contribute to food waste awareness. In the next discussion, I will continue by showing the panel the three types of research questions that we emphasize throughout the research period that we conduct. The first research question is to show that what is level of awareness of food waste among undergraduate students at the International Islamic University of Malaysia, IIUM. The second research question is what is the relationship between students' behavior, knowledge about the food waste, and the level of concern about the food waste awareness among undergraduate students at the International Islamic University of Malaysia, IIUM. And the last is what are the most influential factors that determine food waste awareness among undergraduate students at the IIUM. All three research questions we use throughout our research. Next, I will continue by presenting the research objective. Throughout the study we conducted, we follow the three objectives of our study to ensure that all the studies are in accordance with our target. The first is to determine the level of food waste awareness among undergraduate students in the International Islamic University Malaysia, IIUM. On the top of that, the next research objective is to identify the relationship between students' behavior, knowledge of the food waste, and level of concern and food waste awareness among undergraduate students in the International Islamic University Malaysia. Lastly, our research objective is to identify the most influential factor that determine the food waste awareness among undergraduate students in the International Islamic University Malaysia, IIUM. Now, let's move on to the conceptual framework. Our conceptual framework is divided into two, which is the independent variable and dependent variable, DV and IV. Dependent for this study is set to food waste awareness, while the independent variable IV is a behavior, knowledge and level of concern. According to the research we have conducted, these three independent variables are closely related to the dependent variable, which is the result found shows that behavior plays a high role in the result of the study. It produces positive results behind the data received. We move on to the next presentation related to the hypothesis statement, which is before conducting a study of food waste awareness among undergraduate students in International Islamic University Malaysia. We provide 4 types of hypotheses for our reference to identify whether this hypothesis will be related or not. The first hypothesis here is there is a relationship between the level of food waste awareness among the undergraduate students in the International Islamic University Malaysia, IIUM. The second is that there is a relationship between the students' behavior, knowledge and food waste and the level of food waste awareness among undergraduate students of International Islamic University Malaysia. In addition to the hypothesis we also put the hypothesis related to the third, where there is the relationship between the influential factor among undergraduate students of International Islamic University Malaysia, IIUM. And the last one is the level of concern is the most influential factor that determines the food waste awareness among undergraduate students in International Islamic University Malaysia. We have identified these 4 hypotheses that have given positive feedback and results in the research we have done and have proven that they have the relationship on that particular.
I will continue the presentation. What is research design? Research design is a structure that uses real data to answer a research question. This helps ensure that the data collected is suitable for the type of analysis researchers wish to perform. This study will use a cross-sectional design with a quantitative method. This approach uses 2 types of data collection, which are primary data and secondary data. For primary data, we collected by conducting a survey of respondents who are a student at the IIUM. For secondary data, we use previously read materials such as journal articles. Next is unit analysis. According to Sekaran and Bagri 2010, the unit of analysis called the aggregation level has been the focus of research. Clarity about the analysis used in the study is critical to the conceptual framework, data collection, sample size, analysis, result and discussion. Therefore, the unit of analysis in this study is undergraduate student in International Islamic University Malaysia, IIUM. Sample is a portion of population selected by a researcher for research purposes. Sample size is the number of observations used to compute estimates for a given population. In this study, we will conduct the study among undergraduate students in IIUM. The total number of undergraduate students is 3,742. The next part is about data analysis. Data analysis is used to confirm the validity of the measurement used. To achieve our 3 objectives, we determine the central tendency and variance of the variable, tested each hypothesis using relevant statistical tests, and selected the appropriate menu in the software program for factor analysis. Data analysis was performed using the Social Science Statistical Package SPSS. The data analyzed used in this study are correlation analysis and multiple regression analysis. After data analysis, we move to sampling technique that we use in our research study. Sampling is a strategy for selecting individuals of subsets of a population to draw inferences from data and predict population characteristics. The preferred sampling technique is probability sampling. Undergraduate students in IIUM are the study's intended audience. Therefore, the stochastic sampling used in this study is a simple random sampling SRS technique. Simple random sampling which select group of participants to extract studies from a larger population. Next is about data collection. This study's data will be obtained through the distribution of questionnaire. The survey will be drafted in 2 languages, namely Bahasa Malaysia and English, so that respondents may respond easily. As part of this study, online surveys such as Google Form were distributed to undergraduate students in IIUM via email and WhatsApp. Next part is finding. The research methodology used in this study was a cross-sectional quantitative method using specific questionnaire. In finding also, I will present about the summary of research objective. For the first objective, the finding indicates that students score a relatively higher score on knowing the negative consequences on food wastage and the significance of food wastage awareness. This indicates that IIUM undergraduate students who participate in this study possess a good level of awareness on food waste. For the second objective, result reported that there is a strong positive linear relationship between students' behavior and food waste awareness among undergraduate students in IIUM. Correlation analysis stated that there is a strong positive linear relationship between knowledge and food waste awareness. Lastly, there is a strong positive linear relationship between students' level of concern and food waste awareness among undergraduate students in IIUM. Thus, the results show that there is a significant relationship and positive moderate strong correlation between student behavior, knowledge of food waste, and level of concern about food waste with the level of food waste awareness among undergraduate students in International Islamic University Malaysia, IIUM. For the last finding is the third objective. Based on the result, student behavior is the most influential factor that determines the level of food waste awareness among undergraduate students in IIUM. Therefore, from the regression analysis, it can be deduced that student behavior is the strongest influence that has impact food waste awareness among undergraduate students in IIUM. Next, we move to the next part, which is research recommendation. Among the recommendations that may be recommended are to improve and enhance the awareness about food waste among undergraduate students is through good food waste management practice. So, the lifestyle practice practiced by students in their daily life influence their awareness to be aware of the importance of something such as in terms of managing the food waste that they eat, as it is included in daily routine of our life. Next is through sustainable and comprehensive education. Good education will contribute to positive results because without a good education, it is impossible for an individual to be formed with good behavior. Finally, the last recommendation that can be recommended is through drawing up a budget for food purchases in daily life. Students can make a budget for food purchases in daily life. Students can make a budget or plan about the purchases of food they want to buy. By planning food purchases will help reduce students from buying food excessively. With this treatment, students will be able to cultivate good behavior in the management of managing food so that there is no food waste practice such as throwing unused food into the trash. Next, there were few limitations that were observed in this study. This study recruited respondents only from International Islamic University Malaysia IIUM. It can be said that the findings are only relevant to undergraduate students in this university. However, to get information and approach the respondent is very difficult. It is because the researcher is from a different university. Therefore, a long period of time is required in obtaining data through a survey. This study only used closed-ended survey where there will be a limited information gathered. This is the last part of presentation. For the conclusion, the purpose of this research conducted is to study factors contributing to food waste awareness among undergraduate students in International Islamic University Malaysia IIUM. Throughout this study, there are few conclusions that researcher intends to highlight. Students' behavior, knowledge of food waste, and level of concern is positively correlated to the level of food waste awareness among undergraduate students in International Islamic University Malaysia IIUM. In addition, students' behavior is the most influential factor that determines the level of food waste awareness. That's all from our presentation for this final year project. Thank you for watching.